Hello, AGDQ Games Committee, and welcome to Sworn. Sworn has been in early access for a while, but had its official release in mid-September of 2025, which does in fact make it viable for second submission period. Think of it as Hades, but instead of your Greek and Chthonic gods, you have the heroes and warriors of legend, such as Merlin, Sir Lancelot, Queen Guinevere, but noticeably there's no King Arthur. Where's King Arthur? Well, King Arthur's the bad guy this time around. Who could have guessed? Kings are the bad guys. Jokes aside, we're going to quickly do a quick upgrade here since I realize I do have the capability to do it. Normally you'd be using these currencies to upgrade your stats or upgrade different progression trees along the way, but you can also use them to upgrade these progression trees here, or trade them in after unlocking the currency exchange. You can upgrade weapons for each of your characters, 4 characters, 4 weapons each, and many ways to use those weapons, 4 spells each as well. I personally use the Vigilante with the Bow Staff, and the Shadow Strike spell. Very useful, very efficient, and easy to make a build around. We can also purchase 3 extra Changes of Fate here. I will be doing this run on Squire difficulty, though there may be an incentive submitted to upgrade to Knight difficulty. Knight difficulty is just a little more difficult. Stronger enemies and corruptions in chambers. Corruptions just make an extra effect on a given chamber. For now, we're going to start the quest. In 3, 2, 1, go. If you look at my splits, you may notice I have any percent and Morgana percent on there. Reason is I'm going to be submitting Morgana percent both separately and as an incentive, so this will be kind of a catch-all here, if I'm being fully honest. But first arena, not too much going into it yet. We get a Fey banner, and we're going to use some of those dice that we got to find Bobbed. Bobbed is where our build really originates from. We're going to go ahead and take Shadow Touch. I was hoping for a higher rarity on the spell and the light attack. This build really revolves around the spell and light attack, but the light attack you can sacrifice and have it only be common if you need to, if you want to try and save your dice for later, and even the enemies are not invulnerable to the traps in the area. We are going to take this. This is a Trial of Corruption. I get a free upgrade horn, or free with some conditions. Enemies will have plus 50% movement speed. This is what you would see during a Knight percent run. Corruptions on each chamber, except for bosses on Knight difficulty. But here, we're really just focusing on enemies, and I don't mind extra movement speed from the enemies, because the reason is, that means they'll come to me faster. I don't have to worry about coming to them as much. Or in that case, it just simply worked out that I got one sooner than the other. And now we're simply working our way through all these enemies as we go. And if you notice, our abilities are limited by our mana. Our mana does... Ooh, we're going to take Bloody Stabs. Normally you would be building for your spell, but Bloody Stabs is a wonderful capability that is very useful. It causes bleed on a backstab, and your backstabs, if you have them on your light attack, you're going to be inflicting a lot of bleed. You get to 10 stacks of bleed, and you inflict hemorrhaging. Hemorrhaging inflicts 250 base damage. Since I'm going for Morgana percent, I'm going to take the gold here as opposed to the shop, despite knowing that the shop would allow me to skip an encounter and go straight to a legendary beast. But I do need at least 300 gold to purchase a specific thing for Morgana percent down the line. Morgana percent does have some prerequisites throughout the run. It is much easier to get in co-op than it is in single player. Honestly, the biggest factor you will find when you're playing solo that is a limiting factor from Morgana percent is the fact that it is sometimes difficult to get all the factors that you need And here we are against our first mini-boss of the run. They are called Legendary Foes, but this one is obviously the first one you encounter. You can encounter this or the Treant. The Treant, in my opinion, is the easier of the two, but that's personal preference. My co-op partner disagrees with me on that vehemently, but that's fine. And those crystals will give me plus 10 health. We're going to go for the Sword and the Stone here. Even if the Sword and the Stone had a major foe and the other didn't, we would still go for the Sword and the Stone. You're guaranteed 2 in an any percent run, 3 in a Morgana percent run. And they are massive boons to your capability. For example, we can get Shadow Dancer, but I'm looking for something else. Omni Slash, there we go. Plus 25% damage to my spell's damage, and I can target in an area now. I can hit multiple foes at once with it. Makes it much more useful for clearing out rooms, or for hitting the specific enemy that I want to. Normally it is auto-targeting, which means it could be up to fate which one I hit sometimes. We're going to keep upgrading that, and we're going to take this Fey Banner. The Fey Banner could lose me even more time than the other option with the major foe, but here it looks like we have the maze option for it. The maze option is a little dangerous, but I am certainly not the best at it, so that's probably why I fear it more than other players. Reason being, I try to go too fast. How dare I, a speedrunner, try to go too fast? But we did it with no problem there. It did lose a bit of time, but we're going to take Bobbed again. I'm going to try and find an upgraded spell. I'm not getting spell rarity, so I'm just going to go ahead and take the spell. I want to guarantee I am playing into my build. Reason is, my current spell guarantees a backstab, so I am guaranteed to do that extra damage when I attack with my spell with this build that I'm using right now. I'm going to go ahead and take the Fey Heart to hopefully dodge the major foe and any time loss that could have come with it. I did kind of want the Horn, but you gotta take and lose a little. It's a matter of figuring out what is fastest here. And then, of course, that one goes around the long way, but that's life. Sometimes you gotta take the scenic route, you know? And here we go into a shop. Now you're going to see why I need that extra gold. There's 300 for Lancelot, and now we have the first gem of the ring that will dispel the enemies. I will invest into my spell here. Just spend some of the gold that I have left, because now I don't need to worry about my gold amount. Whatever gold I get is what I get. Here we have Gawain, the first Knight of the Round Table that we fight. We'll fight 3 throughout the run, but Gawain is probably the easiest. Aside from Percival, the second one. You can have some issues with Gawain, particularly with that attack that you just saw me take a couple hits to right there. And some of the enemies that he spawns can throw you off of your game a little bit. Case in point, taking a little bit of unnecessary damage there, but it's okay. Kinda got played there by those AoE hits. I felt like I had gotten the AoE dodge that I needed to, but I apparently did not according to the game. This game is honestly a bit less player-friendly than some of your other games of this genre, like Hades and Enter the Gungeon, where you have a little bit of leeway on your hitbox. You have no leeway on your hitbox here. We're going to refill our potion. We are using the Sanguine Serum, and we're also going to take the Blood Crystal here. It penalizes 45 HP, which hurts a lot, but that is life. We're not going to actually reroll any of our blessings there. We don't need to, nor do we really want to, because it will only give you stuff of the same rarity. We are not going to get anything better from those options. But now you can start to see that spell coming together. A little bit of a bad positioning there on when I initially fired off that spell, but now you see the shopkeeper, the secret shopkeeper, I should say. Can't get anything right now, but very good to see. I'm going to go ahead and take Gomagog, a blessing from Gomagog. Reason is, I'd love to get their ultimate. Their ultimate does allow you to knock out enemies, stun them for a moment. It would be convenient, to say the least. The only downside of their ultimate is that it's relatively slow. It is more powerful than some, but less potent than others. I will go ahead and take the companion. I don't really have anything focused around a companion that I need to worry about. If I had seen a companion from Queen Mob and then seen Gomagog, maybe it would have been a bit different, but in this case, we're just kind of rolling with what we've got here. And there we go, wipe out all 3 of those enemies, and then this extra one, icing on the cake. Jump down here, and where's that last enemy? Down here. Here we go. That's the biggest thing you deal with, is that your enemies will not be spawning near you. We're going to go ahead and take the Fey banner here, hopefully increase our build just a little bit, though we do also have the potential for a lot of time loss. For example, survive for 45 seconds. Perfect time for plenty of donations. Not too much going to be happening here. Combat isn't even mandatory, it is optional. So if a host or anyone had a message they wanted us to hear or read off, whether it was donations, a charity blurb, a message from our sponsors, anything going on at whatever event this would be performed at, especially, but since this is AGDQ specific, you know. Right now we're just trying not to take too much damage here, and failing a little bit, as I try to look cool and keep fighting these enemies, despite combat being optional. We are going to reroll that and hopefully get bobbed again. There we go. We're going to take Tragic Aura, inflicting bleed at an interval around ourselves. I did hear the secret shop. We're going to poke our heads up here. Enemies killed drop additional gold, and light attack dealing more damage. We'll take both of those. Those are useful to us. Taking a quick sip of water before explaining this. This is the last of the crystals we need for the ring to guarantee Morgana percent. Again, in a normal any percent run, we wouldn't even be bothering with these crystals. Optimally, you actually want to see this encounter pop up in the first area that you're encountering, because these enemies and their number scale to the area that you're currently in, so they deal a lot more damage and attack in more numbers there, so that hurt, that was inconvenient, but I will go ahead and take King's Feast just as a little bit of safety there, and despite this having a major foe, I'm going to take it in hopes that I will get a little bit more health from that as well, assuming I go damageless. Pays off a little bit. We do get a little bit of a chest there that does have some damage or some health for us to pick up. Quickly taking care of some of these enemies. Others are taking a little bit longer, but not too shabby. And now we go into the Legendary Beast. I wouldn't be surprised if I took a single death here. It's not too uncommon, especially against this enemy here. Throws out the blades, attacks 3 times, recalls the blades. That's pretty much the best option for attack you get there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Didn't have my dodge ready, plus also this stuff on the ground does limit your options, and sadly all of those enemies were AoE enemies. This is honestly the more annoying of the 2 potential mini-bosses to deal with, in my opinion, especially because some of that AoE just lingers for so long. Not too uncommon to take a death there, but that's okay. We're going to keep building up our HP, and we will not have to worry about further deaths, hopefully. Though, when you're up against enemies like that, it is a bit inconvenient to deal with. We are hoping to see a specific ability on the next Sword in the Stone that we encounter, as the Sword in the Stone can give our current build a specific ability that allows us to heal off of killing enemies with our spell, or killing them shortly after dealing damage to them with our spell. So that is what we're really going to be working towards. For now, we're going to go ahead and take the gold here as opposed to the upgrade, in hopes that we can get more upgrades or more healing down the line. Just dodging some of these AoE enemies here. As you see, some of these enemies do attack over the barriers. We can kind of attack back over some of the barriers, others are not so kind, and we have an opportunity at a secret shop here. We will go ahead and take the Forge Hammer, see if we can get a better one of our normal spells, but sadly not. Just things are not playing into our favor in terms of RNG, but that is life. You're playing a roguelike, you can only swing that RNG so much. Honestly, I take the let the enemies come to you path on this one, just because there are so many of them, and these enemies deal AoE. They deal a lot of AoE damage very frequently, and if I can control where that AoE is popping up, even better for me. I deal with them pretty easily, they're pretty squishy, but it's still not an enemy I'd like to fight. We're gonna reroll, hopefully see something better here. There we go, slippery target, 14% chance to evade incoming damage. We have a natural evasion chance now. We have the chance to dodge enemy attacks. Very useful, very powerful. What you saw right there was a treasure goblin. Treasure goblins are fun little creatures that allow you to get a little more gold if you defeat them. Just hiding behind the barricade there for a little bit of safety. I would love to take those shards normally, but they don't give you extra health if they're a secondary objective like that, so that would just be time loss. Instead, we're heading right into here. We're going to take this blessing from Beira in hopes that we see one of the specific things from her that we're looking for. Sadly not, but we are going to pick up that max health. We're going to pick up this horn here and start powering up some of our other abilities. I'm going to increase my dodge chance, and we'll top off on health as we go. Here we go into Knight Percival. Percival is probably, in my opinion, the easiest of the knights, as opposed to Gawain. Just because of how predictable his attack patterns are. They are very consistent, to say the least. You can see most of his arsenal right there. Not too hard to keep up with. And we're going to proc our ultimate to dodge some of that damage from those AoE enemies. And we're just trying to keep getting behind Percival at any opportunity we can. We are slightly restricted on our spell use thanks to mana amounts, but our heavy attack does allow us to regenerate our mana just a little bit faster. We're going to pop our ultimate again, slowing down Percival just a little bit. And we're just going to focus on finishing him out here while he's doing that idle attack animation. And we are now in business. Business! Alright, gonna go ahead and refill our potion here. Top off on health. I don't think we have anything we want to sacrifice, especially not from those options. And here we go into the Sword in the Stone. I could have taken Garmagog, but had no reason to do so. Especially when I had the opportunity for a Sword in the Stone. Sword in the Stones are that powerful that you really don't want to ever miss one in a run. They can make or break a run with how potent their abilities are, but here we are in the docks. The docks are a very unique area. A lot of capabilities that really restrict your movement here. We will go ahead and take Shadow Dancer. We have a 50% chance of evasion for 3 seconds after using our spell now, and normally I'd want to skip the encounter, so I'm going to do so. I have no reason to build up my gold right now. Would I love to get more blessings from here? Yes. But skipping an encounter is just faster. Especially against a very tanky now major foe. Major foes in this area are much tankier than what we've been seeing up until this point, so they take a lot more time. Sadly, I don't think I can afford anything from here, but more options there at the Secret Shop. Secret Shop is a random chance spawn. You could technically go an entire run without seeing one, even if you have it unlocked. But thankfully, we don't really rely on the Secret Shop too much. It really is more of a personal preference thing. If you want some of the abilities that are very temporary from the Secret Shop, all power to you. Enjoy, have fun with them. We're going to go for the Fey banner here. There is the potential for time loss. Reason being, it could be survive again, but no, we got destroy crystals before they spawn foes, which is really just a chance to possibly actually clear this without having to deal with a single enemy, if we do it fast enough. And there we go, not a single enemy spawned. We're going to go ahead and take Beira and hope that we see something here. Sadly, no, but we are going to take a Frostbite potential. We'll take the lucky coin here as well, have enemies drop additional coin for us as we head into our legendary beast. We'll see if this is the more annoying or less annoying one. It's the less annoying one. This one does deal some significant ability damages, but in my opinion, they're a little easier to deal with. We're gonna just wait here for a second while it does that massive attack. It's summoning some backup now, but that's okay. We have our evasion chance. That 50% evasion chance is coming in favor. And we're just going to proc our ultimate, regain a lot of that health that we've lost, and there is the Frostbite. Frostbite is the ability that we just added to our ultimate. That means we have a chance to stack up enough of it and freeze an enemy, fully freezing them. Very useful, keeps an enemy locked down, unable to react for just a little while. But a little while is better than nothing. Perfect example of that inky attack from those squid-type enemies. It will literally blank out your screen a little bit. It's kind of like getting hit with a blooper in Mario Kart. It's a love-hate relationship with them. They're not the best, not the worst. Don't need those crystals as the secondary objective. We're just moving on. A lot of the meta currency we're not really worried about. We're trying to go fast here. So whether if it's between two meta currencies, we're not really trying to get one or the other. The only thing we're really worried about is blessings and gold. Beyond that, Sword in the Stone is a priority above everything else.
Your ultimate is ready.
Go beyond the Sword in the Stone, and you're all set. Perfect example of Frostbite there, coming into play and dealing a massive amount of damage to an enemy. We're going to take a Bob Blessing. I probably would have taken it even if there was a major foe associated with it because of the potential scaling that it has with our current build. Our build is focused around that one particular Fae, but it isn't a bad option to go with, regardless of how you choose to play. These enemies are just a little bit tankier, but thankfully finished off very quickly with the ultimate. Sadly, not really what I'm looking for here, but I will take Swift Killer's 30% extra movement speed is not a bad choice. We're just going to be going faster. A roundtable blessing like that is more keyed towards co-op play, usually, but it does have its benefits here in single player. This is probably my least favorite area layout for this zone, for lack of a better term. Got the extra gold from that treasure goblin there right at the end. Not too bad. We'll upgrade our backstab capability for our spell. Always a safe choice, and we have a lot of gold, plus this is our last chance before the final boss of this area, Lady Bedivere, the next knight of the Round Table we will be encountering. Let's see, what do we have here? Ooh, Blood Thinner, less stacks to inflict hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is the ability that causes the enemies to take extra damage, so certainly not going to argue with having to do 6 instead of 10, since our backstab is from both our spell and our often 5-hit combo, Light Attack. Lady Bedivere has her capabilities and quirks. She can be pretty difficult at times. With this homing attack here, it can cause some issues. And then you also have the sharks in the water here. Spears giving you remembrances of Undyne from Undertale, for all my Undertale friends out there. But you can see with the amount of frostbite we have inflicted, Lady Bedivere will be frozen next time we use our ultimate.
Winter is here.
So this will inflict a lot of our ultimate here, dealing some extra damage along the way. I'm just going to dodge that with the evasion chance that I had. All of those hits were pure coin flips, pure 50-50 coin flips after using my spell, but I won every single coin flip in a row right there. Very nice, you'll love to see it. Never punished on the gamble. And now we head into Camelot. Don't have anything I want to sacrifice here for extra coin. We're really just going for speed at this point. Camelot is the end of the any percent run. You'll be facing down against the last of the Knights of the Round Table and Sir Arthur himself. So here we go, right into the Round Table. We'll mash through Arthur's text and you'll see the first 3 weapons lay onto the Round Table. It will be 5 encounters more to finish it off. You see the 3 from the knights we've already slain, and then there shall be more afterwards. We're going to go ahead and take the crystal shards here, just to give us a little extra health afterwards. In solo play, it is really personal preference as to which enemy you want to deal with first here. It is target prioritization at its finest.
Your ultimate is ready.
Your ultimate would transfer between phases here in this particular encounter, but I'm choosing to proc it there just to deal with that specific type of enemy. I do not like the Berserkers. They are the true Achilles heel of this build here, but thankfully I do have enough evasion to help myself out with that. I'm going to let this spellcaster take some damage from the environmental capabilities there.
Winter is here.
Those are not additional knights on the sides, those are simply just traps. Think of them like robotic suits of armor. Prioritizing this knight here, as that knight can get in close and does a little more damage to me. And now we prioritize the spellcaster afterwards, again letting it take some of that tick damage from the enemy near it, from the trap more specifically I should say. And here we go, we're going to take a Fey banner, go for another blessing, whatever we would get. Focusing a little bit here on the archer, kind of just going to kite the other enemies into it. This is where this could cause a problem, but we do have our ultimate charged and ready, so we're just going to go ahead and finish off those other two enemies with it, while also popping our potion. We're going to increase our hemorrhaging capabilities as well, and take another Fey banner here. Really just kind of trying to get my ultimate up again here. These enemies do like to spread out. They are somewhat intelligent, but not the brightest bulbs in the bush. Which is good for us. Means we've got a better chance at dealing with them. Took a little hit from that trap, but that's fine. That is the last of the weapons we needed in there. We're going to take Bobbed again. Sadly, none of what I'm looking for there. I will take an upgrade to the shades that now spawn when I use certain things, but I probably should have taken Beira for a chance at regenning my mana faster. Just those rapid-fire decisions you have to make in the heat of the moment. I'm going to go ahead and re-roll this blessing. See if I get what I'm looking for. Yep, Grievous Wounds. Now my abilities, when I stack up everything, will deal 2.5% of a foe's maximum health after a full stack, which is 6 hits of bleed. I also picked up a Beira blessing as well, and I got some mana regeneration. I regain 5% of my mana when I deal damage with my light attack. Very convenient, very useful, and plays very well into the spell light attack combo for this build. Unskippable cutscene here as Arthur comes in. He's got the same 3-hit pattern here every single time, and then follows it up with this tracking attack here with the spell. We're just going to kind of sit in his blind spot and stack him up. Missed my key there for a moment on my ultimate, so took an unnecessary hit there, but that's okay. And now into phase 2. Every good final boss has a second phase. Kind of reflection of the first phase, but with added AoE, we're going to play against him a little bit here, dodge some of these attacks by utilizing our ultimate, evade some of that AoE damage on the floor that could take us down for a lot, but we don't need to worry about that. We're okay. We are a little beat up, but we're not going to worry too hard about it. And there we go, that last tick of bleed and 2.5% of the max health gone. And that is any percent done. That is technically already time on any percent. We are now in Morgana percent. Morgana percent, you do have to get those 3 crystals along the way to empower the ring, otherwise the Grail will simply blow you away. The game is nice to you in the fact that it gives you a chance to heal up and refill your potions along the way, but from here it's really just going room to room and finishing off enemies. You do have to look out for some of the AoE effects in this area. They can inflict Curse, which will tick down your maximum HP. It deals direct damage to your maximum health pool, which is inconvenient to say the least. Fey Banner and a major foe, we don't have a second option, so we will see what happens with this major foe. And there is the Hemorrhage coming into play. That Hemorrhage build I have been working on the entire time, as well as the backstabs. It is a wonderful combination. Took out that major foe in no time. We'll go ahead and take Beira again here. And we will go ahead and take the Frost Torrent, just causing more damage with our ultimate. No reason not to scale with it here. And here we go. We're just working through more of these enemies here, trying not to step in that purple goop on the floor. Purple is bad here. All that purple goop would take down our maximum HP with Curse. You can see a little bit of it down there. Doesn't really matter which meta currency we take here, but I am going to take some Moonstones. Moonstones are what we use to purchase the extra rerolls that help us change fate and help us guarantee our build, help take a lot of luck out of the equation. As Luke would say, all else fails, get lucky.
Storm's ready.
And thankfully we don't have to worry about getting lucky, we just keep rolling the odds until we get what we need. I will go ahead and take the health just for safety here. I don't think I need it, but you never know. Better safe than sorry. Shouldn't be too many more steps until we are at the final boss of Morgana.
Vortex up.
And just proccing our ultimate here, dealing some stacks to both of these enemies. Prioritizing one slightly over the other. And here we go. There's our third and final sword in the stone right there. Normally it shows up a lot sooner, but right now it looks like it's the last thing we're going to get in this run before we fight our final boss in Morgana.
Your ultimate is ready.
Let's just keep blowing through these enemies. You'll notice these enemies don't look like anything else that we've seen in the run so far. That is because they are enemies made purely out of Fey magic and corruption. Not a fan of any of these, but we're going to go ahead and take Light Impact. It gives us 25% more damage flat on our attacks. And into the shop. This is the last shop before the final boss. So we'll go ahead and take a Bombed Blessing here. Not really anything wonderful here, but I will take Shadow Strike just to complete the Blessing stack. Spend the last few coins on some of those Fairy Embers. Why not? And here we are against the final boss, Morgana herself, the Corrupted Fae. 2 phases of absolute chaos. Let's see what we can do. A lot of Morgana's attack patterns are really just waiting for her to stay in one spot so that we can lay in a lot of our damage and get those 2.5% max health ticks off on her with extra backstabs. It is a little difficult there in terms of some of these capabilities, and then there's this one, which is purely inconvenient because she just splits into 3 clones of herself and is invulnerable to damage until you take out all 3. It's inconvenient, but you take what you gotta deal with. And there we go, we are now into phase 2. We're hoping for a crystal attack just like this. Yes, perfect. And we just lay in a lot of that damage here. We could proc our ultimate like this, but as you saw, that ultimate did less damage than what we were dealing. So, again, we're just going to wait for her to sit still and lay in those 2.5% stacks. We are probably going to go down here. We're down to 1 HP. It is not uncommon to take a death against Morgana. She is a tough opponent, but who knows, maybe we'll do something cool. Not quite. But there goes Morgana. Still plenty of health and resurrection dolls to spare, and time as soon as we hit that interaction. G heckin' G's. 38 minutes and 50 seconds real time. That is actually about a minute of a PB. Morgana percent does average around 40 to 45 minutes depending on luck. And we didn't even have the best possible luck. Any percent is 35-ish minutes. Tack on an additional 10 minutes for Morgana percent. Though, honestly, it's been getting faster the more I've been doing it, so it could even go down to 5 possibly, but that would risk going over a little bit. We'll see what happens when I eventually do submit this. Any practice that happens between now and then, but that is success on Morgana percent. And yes, I know it is 38:50 real time, so almost 39 minutes real time, and 25 minutes game time, but as you saw, a lot of that game time, because game time is only ticking when you're in combat, there was still a lot going on, a lot to take in, lots of strategy involved with this run. I do hope you have enjoyed. I do hope that this game will be considered for a second submission period for AGDQ 2026. We'll see what happens. Until next time, I have been James Swan, this has been Sworn, GG's, and good night.